All right, it should be recording. So I wanted to go over some best practices about both technology and reading intervention. I assume a lot of you are interested or have knowledge about technology. I don't know how many of you are special educators, but I mean, a lot of what I'm talking about is differentiation. So if you're in the classroom or a technology director for teachers in the classroom, you will have, statistically, you'll have 20% of your kids that have some sort of reading or learning difference or disability, not to mention anyone who's at risk for various other factors. So I wanted to make sure it's not just like, here's a bunch of tools. Like the how of it, you can always Google or find on YouTube. I want to stress the why of it a little bit. So that's the first 10 minutes. And then we have two separate projects. For all of the projects, because I'm cognizant of how little time there is, this is maybe a little meta, but the idea is that I have done some scaffolding to save on time for you, but I do a lot of the same things in my classroom for my students. So sometimes I will have pre-found quotes if we're talking about an essay, or I have different scaffolds that will save you time, which is not to say that students with learning differences and disabilities just need extra time, but the scaffolds that I provide you because we have limited time are the same I would do in the classroom. I'll sort of reiterate that throughout. The first project is a science-y one where you'll do a little bit of research and then you'll make an infographic. I have models of all of these, and I want to guarantee I probably went over the 10 minutes you'll have, but I maybe took 15 minutes making the models. So again, my word of the day is raggedy, so if it's bad, that's fine. I just want you getting some of the hands-on experience. And then the second half is more of a language arts informative writing, where we'll vote on a book that many of you know about, or to be honest, we can probably work on different books, where you'll use some of the quotes I found, and you will either write a paragraph or make a slideshow using PhotoPeach. Yeah. So some of the, just to make sure we're on the same, speaking the same language, as it were, I wanted to go over some of the terms I'll be talking about. So this is under research definitions. Differentiation comes from the UDL, Universal Design for Learning background, and I really like this chart that they have. Okay, so it talks about having different means of representation. So that will be some of the early stuff I talk about, audiobooks, some of the leveling accommodations are, all right, how are students getting the input? And then there's different ways of accommodating or differentiating for action and expression. So how are students showing that they're learning? Some students, though reading and writing are very closely intertwined, some students are better at reading, especially if they have an audiobook, but then writing is hard. So fine, let's do it something visually so they can show their knowledge. Part of that's a corny so they feel good about themselves, but a lot of it is so you can see what they know without the barrier of writing. And then multiple means of engagement. A lot of the visual and techie stuff necessarily kind of inherently have a lot of that engagement, but in recognizing these students' strengths, that also creates extra engagement.